I have finally beaten Dragon Age Veilguard after putting 44 hours on it, playing it for around a month, I want to say. A lot of it was just me, like, staring at my phone while playing the game because it did get quite boring on the game. But this game has been, like, one of the most, like, controversial launches for a game that I have seen. Like, you see, like, you check IGN and you see that they gave the game a 9 out of 10. And then you watch Angry Joe and then he gives it like a
3 out of 10.
then you're like, which one is it? And to be honest, playing the game, and as a long-time Dragon Age fan, I have been playing Dragon Age since Dragon Age Origins. This game is a 3 out of 10, but there are some times where it's like almost a 10 out of 10. And there's so many like things about this game that are like they're like the best in the industry, and then some of the other stuff in the game are like the worst in the industry. So it's kind of a game that's kind of all over the place. So we're gonna go over it, and in this video we're gonna have both a non-spoiler section, and towards the end I'm gonna go into the spoiler territory. I'll have chapters of on YouTube at the bottom, so you can skip through those. So if you haven't played the game yet, I recommend just playing it first and then watching the spoiled sections later. Now, would I even recommend buying this game at full price? Not really. Honestly, this would be a pretty good like $20 to $30 game, but at $70, man, I can't recommend this game. Before we begin, let's get out of the controversial stuff about the game. There's two controversies that I want to go over because I feel like a lot of people, went crazy over it while the game was launching, and then when the game did launch, people kind of forgot about it and then didn't mention it. And first we'll go over like the woke stuff in the game. Is the game super woke? And to be honest, not really, besides the Tosh character.
So, I'm non-binary.
Who's, like talking about her pronouns and everything. But again, I'll go into later in the video why her character is kind of 3D dimensional. I don't know if it's intentional or not, but she's kind of an interesting character. But game isn't really woke. Like, for example, everyone was like freaking out because it's like, oh my god, you can make your character trans in the game and everything. But in the game itself, there isn't any trans characters. There isn't even like any like gay characters really, which is usually in Dragon Age games. In Dragon Age games, there's usually some gay characters in the game, but this game doesn't even have any like gay characters. Like, there's characters you can like kind of romance everyone, so everyone's kind of bisexual in the game, but there isn't like one character that's definitely gay in the game. But there's no trans characters unless if there's one of the side missions. Another controversy I want to address is that the Kunari design in this game is all the trailers. The character you create is kind of like a soy boy edition of it. But the actual like badass Kunaris from Dragon Age 2 are in this game. So you do see these like giant, big Kunaris, but you can't play as one of them. So
Rook, I presume.
The Butcher.
There's no need for that. Treviso is the trap, not this meeting.
before we begin, let's talk about the history of Dragon Age, because that does matter a little bit, because Dragon Age Origins came out, everyone loved that game, and people still love that game to this day. Everyone pretty much considers Origins as the best one in the series. And I played that game a bunch of times. I played that game like dozens of times, doing every single side mission on the game, getting different endings, seeing how it is. Because with that game, like, depending on which race you pick, it changes the beginning of the game completely, and like how people treat you and everything. So that game has a lot of replayability, and I played it a bunch of times. Then Dragon Age 2 came out, and everyone was upset. Everyone hated the game. And then I played that game once. I thought it was okay. Thought it was a pretty good game. But now people looking back at Dragon Age 2, everyone loves the game, and everyone's talking about praises about how underrated it was when it came out back in the day. And then years later, Dragon Age Inquisition came out. Everyone was upset about the game, and everyone said, oh my god, they ruined Dragon Age again. And then I played it. I thought it was okay. I had fun with it. I played it once, just like I did with Dragon Age 2. And now that Dragon Age Veilguard came out, everyone's like, oh, Dragon Age Inquisition was actually really good. You gotta hate for no reason. Now Dragon Age Veilguard just came out. Everyone hates the game. I played it. I thought it was okay. Thought it was pretty good. Played it once. I don't really see a reason to go back and play it again. I'm probably just going to stick to just playing it once. Now, let's think about this. In like 10 years, I'm guessing there's not going to be another Dragon Age game. They kind of, I don't want to spoil it. I'm not going to spoil anything yet, but they definitely want to make another Dragon Age game. I don't think it'll happen. I think after this game, Dragon Age Veilguard, I think the Dragon Age franchise is dead, unfortunately. But let's say in 10 years, will people look back at this game like how they did with Dragon Age 2 and Dragon Age Inquisition and then think that it was actually a good game and it got hate for no reason? And I'm going to say yes, because here's the thing about this game. The reason why I think it's so controversial is that when you start out this game, the intro of the game is actually really good. I would give it like a 7 out of 10. Like, that's one of the reasons why I got the game, because I was very skeptical about the game. Then I was watching actually Asmongold play it, who has been extremely skeptical about the game. And the intro for the game is great. He was having fun. I was watching. I'm like, oh, this game looks actually pretty good. So I ended up buying the game, and I played it. Intro was great. Character creation is pretty good, even though I was trying to make myself in the game, but my character just ended up looking like a Pixar character also. And there's like a lot of customization with this game. This game has like the best hair physics I've seen, but there's no freaking body hair. So people that are like hairy monkeys like me don't get to like represent themselves, I guess, in this game. So I had to be, a shaven boy there. But the intro for the game is great. And then from the intro, or being like a 7 out of 10, the game goes to like 2 out of 10, like 3 out of 10, like all the way to the end. Like the game keeps getting worse and worse. Pretty much the whole game. The story is just like what am I doing here? Like, why do I care? Like, the strongest part of the story of this game is what's happening with Solus. Like, every time you get to talk about Solus, every time you're talking to Solus, those are the most interesting part of the game. That's very sidelined in the story. But the main villains of the game, like Gilgamesh and like whatever I don't care about that. They're literally just like two-dimensional, boring, just like, oh, I'm evil and I want to destroy the world. I want everyone to worship me. That's the plot. That's the plot of the whole game. And then you get these different characters throughout the game, the different companions. And then the companions are like, they all have their like own like struggle within the game, even your main character is, struggling with being a leader. You have Balara, that she's like struggling with her brother dying, but then you find out that he's alive, but he's like helping some evil dude or something like that. Tosh doesn't know, like, she doesn't like her pronouns. And then Emmerich is like, he's like a necromancer. Like, I didn't even like pay attention. I didn't even do all the side quests on this game that you're supposed to do, because I was just like, I don't care. I don't like any of these characters. Especially the character I hate the most is Rook. The main character you play is you create yourself in the game. That's the most like unappealing character in the game, because he's just boring. He's just nice. Like in Dragon Age, you're usually, creating your own character in these games, and then you choose like different dialogue option, whatever fits your personal. You can be nice to people, you can be sarcastic, you can be an asshole to people. In this game, you can be either nice, you can be sarcastically nice, or you can be sternly nice. Like, that's the only option on the game. So that's one of the main like complaints that most people have, is that like it's supposed to be a role-playing RPG game, but it's really not. It's more of an action game where you're not really creating yourself. You're playing the character Rook. You're not playing, Yak. In my case, I'm not playing myself in the game. I'm playing as Rook in this game, which is a big problem. But again, this isn't the first time in this series. Now, if we look back at Dragon Age Inquisition, you're playing as the Inquisitor. That can be anyone. That can be you. That can be me. You can create yourself however you want. You can talk however you want. If you look at Dragon Age Origins, you're the hero of Ferelden. That can be anyone. Again, that can be you. That can be me. But if you look at Dragon Age 2, you're Hawk. That is the last name of the character, and they have a distinct look for the character also. Now, again, you can do your different dialogue choices that fit your personality better, but Dragon Age 2 actually like kind of like shoved it in with the Hawk character, just like how they kind of did with the Mass Effect with Shepard character, where like, yeah, you can create yourself in the game, but there's an iconic look to that character, both with Shepard, both with Hawk, that kind of like encourage you to play it. And that's how I actually played him also. In Dragon Age 2, I just played as the default Hawk character because honestly, he kind of is what I usually create in these games. I just like, all right, brown hair, brown eyes, white dude with a beard. That's all I create, and that's what he is. So that actually worked out really well for me. But that's the main problem with the game, is that Rook is just a boring character. So you can't play as yourself. You have to play as Rook, and then Rook is just a boring character to play. So it just makes you like not even want to try to role play.
Look at this. I bet it came in handy. You have to hand it to the ancient elves. They love their statues. Such craftsmanship. Handmade from stone?
Ugh.
Okay.
And then the main focus of this game is not the villains, it's not the world and what's going on with it, it's your companions. There's a major event that happens in like the middle of the game where you kind of, mess up. I don't want to spoil anything really. But the game pretty much tells you that, what, your team is, they need help. They need to get their shit together. And if you don't get your shit together, then you're not going to be able to save the world. And then that's when like the real like companion quests start popping up. And the companion quests in this game, I completed only 2 of them out of, how many characters, all the characters. I only did 2 of them in the game because I just didn't care about it. Now with the companions, is there anyone that I like? To be honest, the main favorite was, which you might not expect, was actually Tosh. The reason why Tosh was my favorite character in the game, at least the new characters, was just because I feel like that's the character that the developers put the most amount of thought into, and she's kind of a strangely 3D dimensional character, I think by mistake. I don't think it was intentional. While the rest of the cast is just very boring, generic characters. Like, for example, you do a quest with Neve, for example, and then the quest is like, oh, this boat town is my hometown. Let's walk around. Wow, I went here when I was a kid and I got lunch there. That's the mission, and it ends. It's like, why the fuck would I want to play this? I don't care about this stupid character. But then you play as Tosh, and then Tosh is like yelling at her mom because like she used like the wrong pronouns or something. And it's like, at least it's kind of like funny. It's like, I'm like, what the fuck am I watching? The world is about to end. Gilgamesh is here murdering everyone, cutting people's heads off, and then you're talking about like cutting your own dick off. It's like, it makes no sense. I mean, it's pretty ridiculous. Now, Tosh is a strange 3D dimensional character. I think she's a pretty fascinating character. Her whole thing is that, oh, I'm a coon or coon. I don't want to say it the racist way. But whatever those things are, the horned people. She's one of those, and they have very strict, gender roles. Men do certain stuff, and women do certain stuff. And then she doesn't feel like a woman, I guess. So she's like, I don't know what I am. Who wants to be a woman? She says stuff like that.
Tosh, do you like being a woman?
Nobody likes being a woman.
And then she wants her mom to accept her for who she is. And that she's gonna, and then she has to call him the right pronouns. And then, but at the same time, she says offensive shit to everyone. She'll, just be outright rude to everyone. She will go up to Emmerich and call him a death mage, even though he doesn't want to be called that. Like, let me show you guys here.
Death mage won't give me one.
First, a bone threader is an extremely delicate instrument. Second, it's Emmerich. Tosh, my name is Emmerich. Not Death Mage, not Corpse Guy, not... I won't repeat the rest.
What? You are a death
See,
mage.
she just fucking...
Why are all my attempts to converse with you met with scorn?
Oh my god.
What?
And this isn't the only time she does shit like this. There's a part of the game. So with this game like also, I'm gonna get into it a little bit later with the factions. But this game is just like very afraid of like being offensive. And one of the things Tosh is that she's one of these, she's part of the Lords of Fortune, which are pretty much going to be like the Thieves Guild of the game. Oh my god, I just ruined my hair. But the thieves get all the game where they, go around, they like find like, like pirate ships, or they go to like areas where there's like ruins, and they like don't try not to set up traps, and they like steal loot from there. But one thing they really emphasize is that they make sure not to steal stuff from cultures where that's like significant to the culture. They only steal like stuff that's not important to their culture, so that they don't. It's like just like white guilt tripping type of bullshit where they're like, oh no, we're thieves, but we wouldn't steal people's culture. It's like, yeah, that's what pirates did back in the day. They were like, oh, let's make sure not to steal anything significant to people's culture. It's stupid.
Glad to have a treasure hunter on the team. You're stealing stuff for us, not from us, right?
Don't worry about that. The Lords of Fortune aren't thieves.
Most of us shadow dragons are wanted for worse than theft. But if some lords are in it for themselves...
Nah. Anything we hunt is salvage. Old forgotten ruins and crap. And we make sure we're not screwing over a culture that lost it. That's what my mother does with the Kunari stuff.
But she says actually something really offensive in here. Let's watch that real quick.
You know those elven power crystals we plug in to make bridges and open doors and stuff? Is there an elven word we're supposed to call them? To be more respectful?
Oh, well, yes. But no. The elven word for them is June Suladin Belinaris Ina Gilan Lasa Shiral.
Oof.
That scene right there like reminded me of like my real life where I meet people, because I'm a Turkish guy in America, I'm an immigrant, and I'll just tell people to call me Yak. I just go by Yak to everyone. And sometimes I'll get people like asking me like what my actual name is, because they want to be respectful towards me, so they want to know what my real name is. And then I'll tell them what my actual name is, which is a very ethnic name, and they'll go, oh, I'm not saying that. That just reminds me of that, where it's like people trying to be not offensive, but by trying to actually being offensive. And that's the thing about Tosh, that I don't know how much of this like tone deafness is actually part of intentional writing versus, like the developers or the writers of the game themselves being tone deaf. Because I feel like a lot of the writing in this game is tone deaf, where it's just like this weird, awkward writing in the game where like it feels like, what it honestly feels like is that people that wrote the dialogue for this game is people that never spoke to anyone ever. They only like seen like they're like aliens who never like talk to a human being, and they only seen like human interaction from like Marvel movies. Like all the dialogue is just like so superficial. All the characters just say like weird phrases like oof, or they'll be like awkward.
Ugh. Awkward.
All the campaigns in this game are just terrible, which is a huge contrast to the previous games, Even Inquisition had Solus, one of the best written characters in the whole series, but then this game just completely falls flat, where like the only character I like is Tosh, just because it's just fun to make fun of her. Like I like doing her missions because I'm like, all right, what the fuck is going to happen this time? It's like, it's actually interesting. With the other characters, I didn't even do most of their quests. I did Bolero because I was like, okay, she seems like a kind of a cool character, but then her mission line was just boring, generic bullshit. The developers obviously didn't care about it, and let's get into why. Because I think I have a theory on what went wrong with the creation of the game. Why it's kind of like, why some stuff are really good and some stuff are really bad. Now I have a theory on what went wrong with Dragon Age Veilguard. I'm going to show it to you guys, which the game pretty much had multiple cycles of creation. So I had Microsoft Paint on here just to demonstrate to you guys what went wrong. Originally this game was going to be just called Dragon Age Dreadwolf, and it was going to be about Solus. So Dreadwolf we'll call just D on here. So it was originally going to be D on there, and then later on they changed it to a multiplayer like looter shooter type of game. I guess it was going to be something similar to Anthem, and then we'll put A for here. And then they had V for Veilguard, which was at 2020, which the year is important. They started working on the game we have right now. Now with this game has high, very low, and then high points on there. So the intro for the game is right up here, where it's like really good on there. And then right after the intro, the game tanks. It becomes really, really bad on there. And then for the outro of the game, the ending, the final chapter of the game, it goes way back up to right over here. Now, what I believe is that when they were originally working on the Dreadwolf game, that's where they had the plot. They had the plot for the intro. They had the plot for how the game ends. And that's why these 2 points are really good. Where there's a lot of consequences to your actions. There's an actual plot over there where the game is really good. But unfortunately, the game got scrapped, so this is all we had from the original game. Now the multiplayer part of the game. With multiplayer part, I think that's where they developed a lot of the gameplay of the game. Now that part is going to be here in the middle part of the game where the quality drops on it. The thing to keep in mind with this game is that you only play as Rook in this game. You don't control your companions. And I think that's because of the multiplayer part of this game where the multiplayer part of the game where you would just play yourself and then you would have, I guess, like 3 other members in your party that were controlled by other people. And then they would control other players. That's why it was it was designed that way. A lot of the gameplay of the game, like the loots that you get in the game, are similar to like how you would get in a multiplayer game. So I think a lot of the gameplay is, and how the levels are designed, is because of the multiplayer on this game. Now the Veilguard part happened in 2020. And I think at that point when they scrapped the multiplayer part of the game, they had to come up with a new story for here. And that's where the Veilguard team took over. And again, this was made in 2020. In 2020, the world shut down. A lot of people were stuck in their homes, especially a lot of people that worked in the game industry. They were working from home, coding from home. And a lot of people honestly kind of went crazy. Just being honest, a lot of people went crazy. And I think that's where people pretty much got the plague from the game, the blighted. The game developers got blighted during 2020, besides getting, COVID. I don't even know if we can say it on YouTube anymore, but they got the blight, and then that's when they created all these characters. And besides writing actual story, you can tell. If you look it up, you can see that the writers for this game had problems with their own gender identity. They transitioned in real life, so obviously they ended up putting that into the game. Now, I don't have a problem with writers putting their own personal stuff into games and everything, because that's what writing a story is. You put a piece of yourself into your story, into your art. That's what art is about. But it's just how it's amateurly done in this game. That's my biggest problem with it. For example, with Tasha's story, you can do this in a different way. For example, the Coon, have very strict gender roles. So you can have a female character be like, you know what, I want to be a warrior. I'm stronger than all of you guys. And I'm going to show it to you. That can be a story. But the fact that they have her say oh, I'm non-binary. It's using modern terminology. It's just very cringy. And it's just very amateur writing.
Here's the ginger.
Thank you.
So, I'm non-binary.
To be honest, watching that clip it makes me laugh, so I kind of appreciate it. To be honest, I don't hate it. It's better than the other quests where it's just super boring with these characters where they're walking around your hometown. At least with her stuff, it's it's funny. I appreciate it, honestly, with how silly it is. But I don't know, the game just doesn't even take itself seriously. Here, I'm going to play another clip. That's kind of a spoiler, but this is the final battle, okay? I'm not going to spoil too much, but it's the final battle. And then, throughout the whole game, this is what it leads up to. And this is how Tash explains the fight.
Sounds like a lot more Antom across the bay.
I wonder what they're saying.
Something Gillidane's blood, something pure and unstoppable, the usual.
Let's talk about the good and the bad with this game, because this game has a lot of contrast in that sense, where there's some stuff in this game that are class leading, and then they're just undermined by stuff that's terrible. I think it's a combination of just very talented people working on this game, plus very untalented people, I guess, getting lucky, getting the job. They probably knew someone and that got their foot through the door, and then they got hold of the project, and then they got to work with these talented people and ruined a lot of the aspects of it. For example, the graphics of the game. The graphics for the game are amazing. Like some of the areas you walk through, like it's one of the best in like it's like up there with like Elden Ring, you know. In Elden Ring, like you go to some areas and you just look, you're like, wow, this looks amazing. Like you get that with this game, like it's really well done. But then the level designs are horrible. Like this game's level design doesn't feel like a role playing game. It feels like I'm playing like Crash Bandicoot or like Ratchet and Clank, where I'm just like walking on like a straight line where there's like trees, you know, next to me, and then like a group of enemies comes and I just hit them with my wrench. That's what it feels like. It doesn't feel like a it doesn't feel like the world is like properly thought out. Like if I'm walking through a city in this game, it doesn't feel like a city. It just feels like I'm walking in like a linear corridor game. Then if you look at the facial animations in the game, they're horrible. I mean, like the character models look really good. I mean, like I don't like Rook's character model for some reason. He just looks like a Pixar character. Like he kind of looks like me, but he kind of looks like if I use like a Snapchat filter to like make myself look like a Pixar character. But the companion designs I actually like a lot. A lot of companions actually look pretty cool. It's just that they're just poorly written and like the facial animations are just not good.
He was here. I caught his scent. He took her.
The factions in this game just play it so safe. That's really annoying. It's like everyone in the game is nice. We have a faction of assassins, but they're refusing to kill people. We have a faction of, you know, looters who are thieves who are going around, you know, looting, you know, artifacts, but they don't want to capture anything that's culturally significant. And then we have Necromancer clan, and then the necromancers are literally doing slave work when you like go to their area. They're just literally have skeletons mining, and apparently they're good people. It's like in Dragon Age games, it's like magic is like always this like taboo thing, and they have little necromancers that like no one cares about. You know, it's just here's a necromancer using a dead man's skeleton to, you know, mine for some, I don't know, coal or something. You know, it's just insane. Now let's talk about the finale of the game without spoilers. I'm going to go into the spoilers of it. And honestly, playing it kind of made me sad because the finale of the game is so good. Like, it's one of the best, like, BioWare has ever produced. I think it's, in my opinion, it's the best finale to a Dragon Age game. Like, it's really good. Maybe the Inquisition Trespasser I would like a little bit more, but it's really good. It's so good that, like, I'm not going to spoil it, but there are people, you know, depending on what choices you make throughout the game and the choices you make at the end of the game, people can die. And that's the cool thing about it, is that your choices really matter at the finale of the game. And all the finale is very well written. All the characters you care about, and like you're trying to, you know, save everyone. Like, all the stakes are super high. And I wish the whole game was like that. And for me, the finale is like a 7 out of 10, an 8 out of 10. It's great, but it could have been easily a 10 out of 10. If the middle of the game, if that was good, if you like the characters and you cared about the characters, the finale of the game would have been amazing. It would have been an 11 out of 10. Because now you have to protect all these characters that you played with the game and that you care about, that you romance and you became friends with. You would have to take care and make sure they stay alive. But, you know, you get to the end of the game and it's like, I don't even care about these characters. But it's still very well written to the point where one of the characters die, and it almost made me tear up. And I'm like, I didn't even care about this character throughout the whole game, and they just died in such a heroic way that I was just like, oh my god, it actually like made me feel something for the first time playing the game, especially for a character that I just didn't care about, and I was actually kind of annoyed. I was like, I don't like this character. So that was pretty cool, and it just made me sad that, like, what could have been, you know, if we got like a proper game in the middle of the game, just not in the beginning and the end. The beginning and the end of the game are great. If we had a better game in the middle, it just would have been such a great game. But again, guys, I think this game is like, final rating I would say is oh my screen's going blurry on it as it gets revealed. I'm gonna give the game a 5 out of 10. And it's a type of 5. It's not a 5 that's like, oh, it's just average. It's a 5 where it's like the game is like a 2 and a 9 at the same time, and then just averages out to 5. I don't know if that's the proper math, but we're gonna go with that. it's a 5 in a way of like it's just very, it just pulls me from both sides of the end. I think in a couple of years, maybe 5, 10 years, maybe, I think people will look back at this game and appreciate what it tried to do initially, but unfortunately end up failing. I don't think we'll get another Dragon Age game. But now we're gonna go into the spoiler section. So if you haven't played the game, don't watch this, or watch it if you don't plan on playing it. But I recommend playing the game. I think it's still a decent game, especially if you're a fan. If you've never played a Dragon Age game, don't play it. There's way better games out there. But if you're someone like me who played through all the Dragon Age games and now this is the last one you're gonna get to play, I say play it. But let's get to the spoiler section, which is gonna be the finale of the game. First, let's talk about Varric, because Varric's in this game, and throughout the whole game, he's just sitting in his room. And I started to wonder. I'm like, why the hell is he just sitting in his room? I'm like, I started to get a little bit of hints of it. I'm like, maybe he's like dead and like Rook was like dreaming it or something. And I'm like, that's stupid. And then we get to the finale of the game where like everyone's dressed up in armor, ready to go to battle, and Varric is still laying in his bed. I'm like, okay, there's no fucking way the end of the world is here, and Varric is just like, oh man, I got a headache. I gotta stay in bed. You know, I don't want to catch cold out there. It's like he would have, even if he was like about to die, he would have went out there and fought. But then it gets revealed that Solus betrayed you, and that was just a hallucination, which I thought it was a cool twist. But I kind of figured like halfway through where I'm like, all right, Varric's got to be dead or something, because like it doesn't make sense that he's just staying in his room and then no one else is talking to him besides us. So I kind of put the two together. But either way, it was a cool trick that they did with that. Now let's talk about the villains of the game, which are, I don't even know their name. I don't care. They're stupid. They're elven gods that Solus trapped, and then they come out blighted, and now they're just pure evil. We're like, oh, we gotta take over the world. Everyone's gonna worship us. I thought that was dumb. Now, one thing that I have a theory on, I could be completely wrong, but this is my theory on it, is that, so at the end of the game, Solus tricks you, he escapes, and then what does he do? He joins up with the Shadow Dragons, I believe, or it was the other faction. He joins up with one of the factions, and everyone's like, oh shit, Solus is helping us. Solus is a good guy. And then Solus is trying to kill the Elganon and Gilgamesh, or whatever the fuck, the elven gods, and trying to look like the hero. Again, it gets revealed that if we kill the gods, this destroys the veil, and that accomplishes his goal. I think that was his plan from the beginning. I think what Solus did was that he blighted the gods and then released them intentionally at the beginning of the game, so they would come out, they would cause havoc, they try to destroy the world, because they're pretty much blighted and like brainwashed because of Solus. And then Solus would escape at the end. He would kill the gods, making him a hero, and then he would destroy the veil at the same time, accomplishing his goal, and everyone would, see him as a god, kind of, and then see him as like a hero at the same time, and then worship him instead. I think that was his goal. Now, the game doesn't say that. That's kind of my theory on it, but that's the only way I can like justify how bad the villains are, because otherwise the villains are just like two-dimensional, just evil elves, and then Solus is the only one that's like a well-written character. Well, I mean, that's the thing about Solus, like, he's a really well-written character, and so it doesn't make sense to me why the other villains are just so like two-dimensional. Like, I think like the thing that like shows how different caliber characters there are, you look at the design of like that elven god woman, where she's like, oh, she got like tentacles coming out, oh my gosh, she has like teeth in her eyes. And then you look at Solus, he's just a bald dude, but Solus is designed that well that it's like this like very plain bald guy can have a very unique and interesting story to him, while this tentacle monster is like doing too much, So that was interesting. But I love the ending. I think the ending was great. Some people complained that there isn't that many. There's like 4 or 5 different endings, but they're all kind of the same thing, where Solus just goes to the veil and shuts down, and everyone's kind of happy. Now, depending on how many of those like Heroes of the Veilguard like status you got for all of your campaigns, which is doing all their companion missions, it changes the ending, and see how many like of them get to live depending on where you put them and stuff. Now, personally, I did only 2 of the characters. I did Tosh and Balora's story, because those are the only 2 characters that I really liked. Even Balora I didn't really like that much. So because of that, when I got to the end of the game, I assigned Tosh as one of like the defender people because I was like, oh, I did her mission, so she'll survive. And then she ended up dying. Then I got to the finale and I had Blur on my side, and then Solus killed her also. I didn't even give me the option to like trick him, so I just got the bad ending. But I kind of like the bad ending, to be honest, where like everyone kind of dies and then everyone's kind of remembered as like heroes who sacrifice themselves to kill Solus. But the other endings are also pretty cool, like the ones where like, you know, you do that other side mission where you can like find Solus's lover, and then she's like, oh, you don't have to do this, and then Solus is like, okay, I'll stop that, because apparently he was a simp the whole time, which I don't even know if it's really like goes with the canon of the story. Like I was like trying to like after finishing the game, I was like, I started watching like lore videos on the game and everything, and like it didn't really make sense to me why Solus would have like just abandoned his mission just because she told him to stop doing it. Maybe some of you guys in the comment section can explain, but I was like looking at it and I'm like, okay, so Solus put them in the Veil because those gods killed her. Why am I going out of focus again? He put them up there because like I guess they killed her, but then she told him that it's okay, and now he's like, okay, I guess I won't destroy. I don't know. Doesn't even matter. We're not gonna get another Dragon Age game. Now they do tease, if you get like the secret post-credit scene, they do tease like this stupid fucking thing where it's like, oh, throughout this whole games, all the Dragon Age games, there's been like a secret society that's been controlling everything. And some people say it's like the old ones, which are like some other forgotten gods, or they're like some other secret society that's been like doing everything, where they like control the events of Dragon Age 1, 2, and Inquisition. I highly doubt we're gonna see it happen, and even if it does, I think it's kind of a stupid plot point. But I don't know, guys. But anyways, guys, if you play the game, let me know what you think of the game, how you liked the game, if you liked it or if you didn't like it. Let me know in the comment section below. If you got to all the way to the ending of the game, I mean, end of the video, then let me know in the comment section below. It's always interesting to see like if people watch these longer videos. But I don't know, I had a lot of thoughts about the game. I just wanted to get those out mostly. I don't even know if anyone's gonna watch this video. I have a smaller channel, so I don't know. I just want to talk about it with someone. But anyways, guys, thanks for listening. If you are that person that watched this whole video, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Make sure to subscribe. I'm almost at 500 subscribers. I'm very excited. So anyways, guys, I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.